Hello and welcome to Jamaica Magazine. I'm Adrian Atkinson. We are in the Christmas season, and while it may be the most wonderful time of the year, it's also one of the busiest. And so we must be vigilant to safeguard ourselves and properties. So in today's show, we share safety tips to maneuver COVID-19 and still have a good time, and also reinforce some online safety measures. Thanks for making it Jamaica Magazine.
Even though COVID's still a keep, do a nice thing for your peeps. Check out the JIS Christmas catalogue and stand out from the crowd. Get an original holiday card or calendar for your clients, suppliers, partners and associates at home and abroad. Send an e-card anywhere. Customized cards are also available. Order your affordable holiday package today. Contact the JIS Research and Publications Department. Call 876-926-359024, 876-552-9006, or 876-551-1214. Email printprodassist@jis.gov.jm or visit our website at www.jis.gov.jm.
Good day, I'm Stephen McHugh, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, December 16, 2021. The island is set to have a strong winter tourist season that could result in the destination ending 2021 with 1.6 million visitors and over $2 billion in earnings. That's the word from Tourism Minister Edmund Bartlett. According to a statement from his ministry, the season, which began on December 15, should see similar occupancy levels to 2019 before the COVID-19 pandemic impacted the island. The Jamaica Hotel and Tourist Association, JHTA, is projecting an average of 65% occupancy in hotels across the island, while several major investments are projected to further fuel the sector's recovery.
We've been able to bring back our workers in the main. We lost 130,000 during the COVID. We are now about 80,000 back. We've been able to bring back our investors, almost all of them. And we are now looking at 7,000 new rooms to come on board over the next 3 to 4 years, and some $2 billion of foreign exchange expenditure in Jamaica, creating an additional 20,000 jobs for our people.
Mr. Bartlett says his ministry is focused on harnessing tourism's full potential by reimagining and redefining the industry around products and interactive experiences.
A more inclusive tourism, that which involves all our players together, and a tourism that is going to see a greater involvement of the main drivers of the industry, entertainers, our cultural partners, our agricultural partners, our manufacturing partners, our transportation partners, our craft vendors, and our artisans.
Meanwhile, $20 million has been allocated to assist 651 craft traders who have been impacted by the pandemic under a special winter tourist season capacity building support program. The initiative, being spearheaded by the Tourism Enhancement Fund, TEF, will benefit licensed and COVID-19 compliant craft traders across the island. Portfolio Minister Edmund Bartlett says that with the industry being relatively inactive for most of the year due to COVID-19 restrictions, these funds will go a long way in helping the craft traders get back on their feet. The support is expected to better position them to meet the anticipated increased demand during the winter tourist season. Minister Bartlett gave the update at a recent stakeholders breakfast meeting in Ocho Rios. He says representatives of the Port Authority of Jamaica, PAJ, Tourism Product Development Company, TPDCO, Jamaica Vacations Limited, JAMVAC, and other tourism entities met recently to review the dispatch system at cruise ports. This is to ensure that COVID-19 compliant and TPDCO certified craft markets across the resort areas are able to get more traffic from cruise visitors. Data from the Jamaica Tourist Board, JTB, indicates that since August, Jamaica has welcomed 16,237 cruise ship passengers from 10 different cruise lines. Approximately 360,000 Jamaicans who are beneficiaries of the Program of Advancement through Health and Education PATH and the Social Pension Program will receive a one-off grant of $10,000 this month. This is being facilitated through an allocation of $1.9 billion under the Social and Economic Recovery and Vaccine Serve Jamaica program. Some pensioners under the National Insurance Scheme, NIS, will also benefit from the support. Labour and Social Security Minister Carl Samuda says the grant is in addition to the normal payments due to recipients during the period. The payments, which are being made through the ministry, started on November 15 when over 6,000 elderly persons received their grant along with their social pension payment. The Ministry of Local Government has made funds available to the National Solid Waste Management Authority, NSWMA, to address the anticipated increase in solid waste over the holiday period. Portfolio Minister Desmond McKenzie says the money will be drawn from the Equalization Fund. Among other things, it will be used to employ 500 additional sweepers to be deployed across town centres and thoroughfares. Over 300 private and garbage dumper trucks have also been deployed across the island to assist with the agency's public health drive, which includes the removal of bulky waste.
So this initiative, Madam Speaker, will allow the agency to respond in a meaningful way. It is expected that these measures will help to reduce the backlog of solid waste that our citizens are experiencing in some part of the country.
Minister McKenzie says illegal mini dump sites in Montego Bay, downtown Kingston, and other parts of the island have been cleared, and steps are being taken to prevent any recurrence of dumping at these areas.
One of the initiatives of the entity, Madam Speaker, is that operations will continue right up until midnight. The registered dumps or the legal dumps across the country will be open up to as late as 11, going into midnight. And we are expecting to put in place in selected areas, Madam Speaker, a 24-hour garbage collection in certain selected areas of the country.
And finally, Prime Minister Andrew Holness is reiterating his call for partnership in the build-out of purpose-built educational infrastructure on the island. Mr. Holness says government is at the planning stages of building 7 specialist schools in science, technology, engineering, arts and mathematics, STEAM. But he says these schools will require funding to meet international standards and give children the right environment in which to learn. Mr. Holness made the case as he opened the Crystal House Jamaica School in Twickenham Park, St. Catherine.
I'm very happy to be here, because this shows that we can build a first-class educational institution. We can. This is it. Anywhere you go in the world, this school would meet the highest standards.
The school is owned and operated by Crystal House International, a global children's charity organization. It will cater to students from kindergarten to sixth form from surrounding communities. In addition to providing tuition-free schooling, Crystal House students will be given books, uniforms, information technology equipment, transportation, breakfast, lunch and snacks, and health services. Students will also benefit from support and counseling for an additional 5 years after graduating high school.
The transformation in the minds of the children doesn't always take place simply or merely between teacher and student. The environment in which the children are hosted is also a critical variable in that transformation. You can't have children leaving homes that are broken socially, but also broken in physical state, to come to schools that are also broken in physical state.
And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Stephen McHugh. Thanks for watching.
Do not leave valuables such as gifts, laptops, and cell phones in plain view in your car. If you have to leave these items in the vehicle, put them in the trunk. This will decrease the likelihood of a car break-in.
As we maneuver the COVID-19 period leading into the Christmas holiday, let's follow these safety measures from the Ministry of Health and Wellness.
Christmas activity typically we know we have the family and friends gathering to have fun but this also increases our chances of getting or spreading COVID-19. And the safest way at this time, because we're experiencing this pandemic, is to celebrate Christmas with people within our own households. So if you do plan to spend Christmas with people outside of your household, we really do need to take steps to make sure that is a safe activity. So we need to be wearing our masks at all times, except when you're going to eat or have something to drink. So even if we're coming together, we need to be wearing our masks. We need to make sure we're keeping and maintaining the physical distance of 6 feet, especially when it is that we're interacting with persons who don't live within our own households. And make sure we have the mask on while we're speaking and not removing it, like putting it underneath the chin or taking it off completely when we're talking and interacting with other persons. Making sure that we're washing our hands as well or sanitizing with our alcohol-based hand sanitizers, especially when it is that soap or soap and water are not available for us to use at that point in time. And we also need to be aware of the measures that are currently in our Disaster Risk Management Act. So adhere to all the COVID-19 protocols that have been set. For example, the curfew limits, the limits in terms of the numbers for social gatherings, etc. What activities can you safely participate in during the Christmas season? Host a virtual Christmas meal with friends and family who don't live within your household. And then you set up your TV or your laptop or your tablet and have a virtual sit-down dinner. Have people share the recipes and the dishes. So normally sometimes you have this whole potluck where it is you ask your friends and family to bring dishes over. You can still do that by sharing recipes and so on, and so we can all enjoy together the Christmas meal. When you're hosting a gathering, if it is that you choose to do so, have a small outdoor gathering. If gathering inside it's going to be inside, make sure your windows are open so you increase the ventilation. Limit the number of guests, so make sure you are aware of what it is stipulated in the Disaster Risk Management Act, which changes from time to time. Clean and disinfect high-touch surfaces and items before you use them. Make sure you limit the number of people in the food preparation area so it's not a crowded space. Have your guests bring their own food and drink. And if you're sharing food, have one person share food and use single-use options in terms of your utensils and the things that you're using to serve. In terms of making shopping safe, shop online. And when shopping in stores, stay 6 feet apart from others and make sure you're wearing your mask. And make sure you check yourself for symptoms before leaving home. So if you're ill, please stay home and don't go out shopping at this point in time. For persons who we know are more vulnerable and at high risk, shop early or ask someone to pick up items for you in the store. Use curbside pickup and delivery options if that is available and feasible for you. For our businesses, we know you expect increased pedestrian traffic. Make sure your hand sanitization station is accessible, easily accessible, especially immediately on entry to your business. Make sure you're enforcing physical distancing, not only within the business space itself, but outside. Offer online and telephone services as much as possible for as many services as possible within your business. Offer delivery services if that is an option. Have options for short interactions to be expedited. And make sure you have reminders of the infection prevention and control measures within your business so that you can remind your clients of what is expected. Celebrate the season differently in your workplace as well. So put up your Christmas decorations early to remind everyone of the season. You may have once weekly mandatory Christmas event for staff such as Zoom bingo, Zoom lunchtime caroling, grab bag. We also know Christmas season for some individuals can really be very depressing, have unhappy memories linked to Christmas. There are feelings of loneliness. We want to remind you to always keep positive and see opportunities wherever they may lie. When you're at home, we say start celebrating early, and that doesn't mean in terms of throwing a big gathering or a party. We're just saying start decorating your house at this point in time so you can start to feel the Christmas spirit. Develop your safe circle of friends to keep children and adolescents engaged socially. Make sure you're calling your elderly relatives and friends. Make sure you're keeping in touch with them. Do the family Zoom calls or Skype calls, especially in trying to keep in touch with persons over long distances who don't live close to you. And engage in more family activities, especially within the household, to decrease the stress. Watch more TV together, play your games as a family, attend church online. So decrease the stress that you're putting yourselves under due to spending. So limit your spending, try not to overindulge, and manage your expectations from now. And also try to manage the expectations of your family as well in terms of what to expect that you're going to be able to do and accomplish during this time. If you have to travel for the holidays, your chances of getting and spreading COVID-19 increases. So the best way to prevent this and to make sure you're staying safe is to make sure that you stay home. If you have to travel, however, especially using public transportation, we ask, one, make sure you're wearing your mask, and ask others that are in the same vehicle as you are to also wear their masks. Ensure that the windows are kept open. Try to avoid vehicles that are overcrowded. Make sure you hand sanitize as soon as possible after alighting from the vehicle. If you have to travel overseas, make sure you check travel restrictions and guidelines before you travel so you know what is expected. Just a final reminder here that if you or your family member becomes sick at any point in time, please stay home, contact your nearest health department, or call 800-1-LOVE.
The Disabilities Act will protect the rights of all persons with disabilities. And here's a great teaching moment. Every person with a disability, like a deaf or hard of hearing child, for example, has the right to an education with accessible facilities and the support they need. In this case, it would be a teacher who can use the language of the deaf, which is sign language. Visit jcpdja.com. A message from the JCPD, an agency of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security.
Practice good hygiene by washing your hands frequently using soap and water. Here's how you should do it while conserving water. Turn on the tap to wet your hands, then turn off the pipe. Lather your hands and the tap with soap. Turn on the tap and wash your hands, back, front, and in between fingers. Use some of the water to wash off the tap, then turn it off. Dry your hands with disposable hand towels. If you don't have running water, use a hand rub containing 62% or more alcohol. If hand sanitizers are not available, rubbing alcohol, Dettol, white rum, or household bleach will do the trick. And if all else fails, let hand washing and the handling of potable water be a two-person event. Each person will take turns pouring and washing hands with sitting water. Now is a good time to consider installing a tap on your containers to reduce the risk of water contamination. Faucets can be easily attached to drums, buckets, or 5-gallon water bottles. And to ensure that the outside of the containers are clean when recapping, disinfect it with hand rub containing alcohol that's 62% or more. The 5 R's of water conservation are also necessary to practice. Reduce water wastage by investing in water-saving devices. Reuse water at least twice before discarding. Replace leaking pipes, faucets, and other plumbing equipment. Recycle wastewater and use it for gardening, car washing, or cleaning of public spaces. And reclaim water through rainwater harvesting. We all must play our part to ensure there's water to combat the coronavirus and stave off prolonged drought.
Up next, measures you can take to protect your data as you navigate the virtual space.
Choose strong passwords. A lot of us reuse our password and we use easy what we call soft passwords. The name of your child, your date of birth. We encourage consumers to choose passwords that are complex, include characters, numbers, and symbols in your password, and no less than 8 characters. The other precaution is to control access to your machine. That includes don't leave your device open on the table. So your smartphone or your computer, lock the screen. Very important because somebody can easily access your data that way. The other precaution is to protect your sensitive data. So identity theft is real. And it's pretty easy for an actor with criminal intent to get your private, to create an identity of you. So they can go on your Facebook page or your LinkedIn or any social media site and grab your information, your name and other information, and create a profile of you in a different scenario. In some cases, they can actually go in other jurisdictions. They can use the social security number and actually apply for bank accounts and other services, financial services. So identity theft is real and it affects us all. So the advice is to try and limit the amount of information you put out there in social media. Social media is important. It keeps you in touch with friends and family you haven't seen for years, and you have a big geographical distance between them, but it also exposes you. So keep your private information offline. In regards to online shopping, utilize the services of a legitimate and well-known and well-established website. Some of these more well-established websites may not necessarily carry the product or the service that you're looking for, but you do have websites out there that they may be running a legitimate organization, but their security precautions that they take in their back-end system is not sufficient. It not necessarily means that you can't shop with them, but or they might not deliver your product, but the level of trust that you have in them might not necessarily be what it should be. But online shopping, there's a service called Better Business Bureau, which a lot of these websites utilize now. And what they do is the Better Business Bureau will evaluate the website and organization for the level of legitimacy, the care that they take in protecting shoppers' data, and they will give them a rating. Their rating system is also based on the number of complaints that consumers logged with the Better Business Bureau. So so websites that are highly rated by the Better Business Bureau will have a tag on them, BBB. You may have seen that before. So that's a good way of evaluating a particular website if you choose to shop with them. Protect your credit card information, especially online. Don't just plug it in any website. And remember to log out of websites after you finish using them.
In the past, we would simply, go into a bank and we would sign mountains of documents to purchase a house or even a car. Now there are opportunities for you to use digital signatures where you can do these transactions online, which now makes it even more challenging to police, because how do we know that you are the actual individual online that is adding a signature to a particular contract or an agreement? So it is very important for consumers to understand and to have a better education on protecting ourselves in these regards.
The Cannabis Licensing Authority is committed to supporting the creation of a regulatory framework for the growth and sustainability of Jamaica's medical cannabis industry. We carefully assess application forms for businesses and individuals interested in becoming partners in the industry. Along with other ministries, departments of government and agencies, the authority endeavors to preserve the integrity of the industry through compliance. This is all done to ensure that the industry is operating in conformity with Jamaica's international obligations. Call or visit our website to find out more about the work of the Cannabis Licensing Authority.
Tip number 1. Keep your regular medication and other supplies well stocked. Ensure there is access to several weeks of medications and supplies in case there is a need for you to stay home. Monitor food and other medical supplies needed and create a plan in the event that such resources become depleted. Tip number 2. Stay sanitized. Tip number 3. Respond to multi-generational living situations. Many older adults live in homes where other members, such as children, may have frequent colds. Therefore, do not share personal items like food, water bottles, and utensils. If possible, choose a room in your home that can be used to separate sick household members from those who are healthy. Tip number 4. Develop intentional caregiver plans. Older adults may be caregivers or may receive care themselves. Caregivers and care recipients should discuss their preparation plans, including how to stay in touch via phone or email. Determine who can provide you with care if your caregiver gets sick. And tip number 5. Keep abreast of essential up-to-date information. That means you should find and regularly check a trusted information source.
This is where our journey ends, but only for today. Do join us again tomorrow when we'll bring you another informative program. In the meantime, stay connected via our website, jis.gov.jm. And while you're online, send your feedback to Jamaica Magazine at jis.gov.jm or via tweet at JIS News. You may also find us on all the major social media platforms and through our mobile app that's Android and iOS compatible. On behalf of the entire production team, I'm Adrian Atkinson. Do take care.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.